one of the oldest law schools. We pride ourselves on being a warm and intimate school, and I think that's really important for us. So I'm going to speak a little bit about research and then talk to you about the teaching programs. And we're starting with research because we believe in the absolute value of research-led teaching. So all my colleagues across the board and the colleagues that you will be meeting in your various modules all engage in research both nationally and internationally. So we're all linked into various international networks, and we feel that this really adds value to our research, and it's something that we're really keen to involve you in as well as our students. So outputs would tend to be texts and articles. We would also have a number of research groups in the school. So, for example, there's groups on constitutional governance, there are groups on social change, there are research groups on corporate governance that I'm involved in myself, and various technology working groups as well. So just moving on to the next slide. A little bit more detail on those particular centres and some of the research that's been driven from those. So one which we're particularly proud of, it's a relatively recent innovation, which is TRICON, which is our Centre for Constitutional Law and Governance. And that really has engaged with colleagues from other jurisdictions. It has allowed us work with constitutional experts elsewhere on that. So just Amy, if you can go back up to the last previous slide, thank you. So one other issues, and I think it's so important as researchers, we need to be able to react. So we certainly will have issues on our agenda, things we plan to do, but I think agile research is so important in terms of researchers. So shortly after COVID outbreak, we established a human rights and COVID-19 law observatory to try and provide input into public policy and also to gear our research to support the public policy developments that were needed. And it involved colleagues right across the board from different public and private law spheres using their research in a way to give back and contribute. We also have research which is European research funded, looking at prisons, accountability and rights, just to give you a flavour of some of the research. We also have publications that we're very proud of. So one of the oldest Irish law journals, the Dublin University Law Journal, which is published in Dublin. My colleagues edit that. And also the Irish Supreme Court Review. And as we'll see a little bit later, there are student journals as well, which are relevant. We have an absolute commitment to equality and diversity and inclusion, and it's something we've worked on in the last number of years to make sure that we are constantly innovating and providing best practice here. So we're very proud of our Athena Swan Bronze Award, which is an internationally recognised quality mark for gender equality. It's something that is earned, but it is something that also must be maintained. So we are subject to review on that on a regular basis. I think you can see it from the student body, and certainly as a lecturer, I can tell you, absolutely enriches the subjects that we teach, to have a disparate student body and to have contributions from so many jurisdictions. So it's something, as I say, we're very proud of. I mentioned to you that not just we look at the school not just in terms of ranking, but what sort of a place is it as a student to come to? How do we relate to our students? And we want to see it as a very close community. We want to engage students and have them engage with us in our research, but also in a community sense. So we have over 800 undergraduate students, 200 taught postgraduates, and then we have our postgraduate research students at a master's and doctoral level. The taught community, as you can see, and it's you heard it mentioned earlier, but it spans at this stage over 30 countries from all continents, and they do become strongly connected during studies. It is an opportunity to build friendships, but also to learn from the experience of other students in different jurisdictions. There are a number of student-led activities. So I talked to you a little bit earlier about college and research journals and the Dublin University, but there's also a Trinity Law Review, which is led by students, edited by students, and gives students an opportunity to get involved at that sort of early stage research. That's really important. There are a number of other student-related societies. The Dublin University Law Society is one of the oldest, and again, the guest speakers there are from a disparate range of topics and countries, and it's engaged at a high level in debating as well. So that's something we're very proud of. This is a European Law Students Association, and they organise a number of events right through the college year. Again, that's driven by students in the university, but we work closely with them. The Law Student Colloquium is another example, driven largely by law students and postgrad law students to discuss particular areas of research that you're keen and passionate about, and that tends to lead to publications or also to seminars in different jurisdictions. Law school events, and you can see there they range from the sublime to, let me say, the ridiculous in terms of the bake-off, but we have guest speakers at a high level. So in the last 2 weeks, we had the Registrar of the International Criminal Court come to talk to our students. We had the director of one of the OECD committees. We have a number of symposiums, climate change and cyber security, two keen and pressing issues, and then the fun events. We really want this to be an enjoyable experience. I think the learning experience is really enriched by that. So we have a law day events, we have outdoor activities, and then we have the bake-off, and a boast there that the staff won this year. So those of you who are joining, improve your bake-off skills for next year. Looking at student services, their academic services at a really high level. So library resources, electronic databases, how to use them, how to become engaged with them, a number of development workshops in terms of IT services as well. Welfare services are important, and they're there if you need them. So they include disability services and student counselling and student health services. And we are really keen to make sure that this is a time where you can be involved, and that we reduce any stresses that we possibly can for you. There is a TC Global Room for international students, and again, it's a great opportunity to meet people from different parts of college and not just the law school. I think you're going to see some pictures later on of the sports centre and sport teams, but keeping active is a huge part of this. Despite its really central spot in the city, there is huge access on campus and off campus to sports facilities, and we always encourage our students to use those. So this is just a couple of the taught programs, and just moving through these. There's a general program, and then there are 3 specialist programs that I'm going to talk out in the law school, and then there's a joint venture with the business school, which is the MSc Law and Finance. So looking at the law programs, this is the structure. It is a full-time course. Over the course of the academic year, students complete 6 taught modules, but also they engage in a research dissertation. We'll speak a little bit more about that later. That spans the entire year. So we have over 40 postgraduate modules, and they're taught both by full-time professors and adjunct expert practitioners to give that practical experience that is so essential to many of the subjects. The modules, of course, have an international focus, as is correct for a modern institution. They involve, in terms of teaching, class discussions and student participation. And we strive to achieve active learning for you. So I mentioned the dissertation, and this I think is a really exciting opportunity for students to develop their own research skills in an area of particular interest to them, but working under the supervision of a full-time professor with experience here. So the idea is that you choose a particular topic. We group you in small groups, so typically up to between 4 and 9 students. And we work with you to improve your own writing, to improve your research skills, but also your presentation skills, how you present to colleagues. And again, that can be utilised going forward in the various symposia. Some of the examples you can see on the screen of some recent dissertations, and you can see that there's a huge range of activity. And this is something that really should be something you are interested in, but interested in taking to a different level, and engaging in some independent research, but having that support available to you. And as I say, many of these dissertations lead to further research output, whether in student journals or indeed in professional journals or scholarly journals. The flagship program is the LL.M, and it's referred to, as you can see, LL.M laws on the application portal. And there are a substantial list of modules there covering different disparate branches of the law. So it's good for students who perhaps don't want to be overly specialized in an area or want to choose specific areas from different topics and different sectors. And the idea is to allow you broaden and deepen your knowledge of the law and to open yourselves up to a variety of career opportunities when you finish. And one thing, just a caveat to note, that some of the highly demanded specialized modules in areas such as IT may not be available on the LL.M general program. So in deciding which LL.M you're interested in, please just bear this in mind and check from the list. Our LL.M in International and Comparative Law was created for students who want to develop an in-depth understanding of the law in an international and global context. So some of the modules there that are of particular interest would be business and human rights, international humanitarian law, Islamic law, law of international institutions. And the idea here is that you will use this broad range of modules to develop skills in terms of international comparative law and international comparative research in a changing environment. The business, international and business law is a second option available. And again, this is geared towards students who are particularly keen on developing their skills in terms of international commercial and legal practice. And you can see some of the commercial or finance related modules there. Corporate governance in the EU, which is my module, international economic and trade law, mergers and acquisitions, sustainable finance, and there are also, these are just a sample. There are more in areas such as funds and financial services more generally. But the idea here is to develop particular skills to analyze the interplay between law and social change within the context of international business law. Finally, we have an LL.M in intellectual property and information technology law, which covers sort of substantive policy and practical elements of intellectual property and information technology law, again, striving to do that in a European and international context. And some of the modules there, and these are, because the area is such a dynamic area and it's changing so much, we ensure that our modules are changing and they're constantly refined, and the syllabus and curriculum within that is too. So areas like data protection, copyright law, regulation of cyber speech, as you can imagine, is changing at a great rate. And so what we want to do is to give you the knowledge and the tools to move with this environment and to develop your knowledge as you go. There are scholarship opportunities, postgrad scholarships at Trinity, including Global Excellence Postgrad Scholarship and European Excellent excellence postgrad scholarships. And then there are scholarships that are available externally that postgrad law students can apply for, including Government of Ireland scholarships, Ireland Fellowship Programme scholarships, and then in certain countries, Jean Monnet scholarships are available. There are also internship opportunities and prizes, and some are linked to modules and some are broadly open. So an example, just some of the opportunities available: a pan-European SEAL traineeship program for intellectual property traineeships, looking at patent office issues. We have an internship from the Office of Director of Public Prosecutions for those with a strong interest in criminal and law and criminology. But also we have internships with different firms, in terms of aviation law, but also in terms of publication opportunities there. We know that the focus will be on your time in Trinity, which is what we want, but we also prepare you for the career opportunities that you're going to have when you leave. And therefore, the Career Advisory Services provides a range of resources which are available and which are accessible during your time, but also importantly within 1 year of completing. And they include sort of one-to-one meetings, but also opportunities to engage in seminars and workshops, employee presentations, career fairs. So it's building your skills and making opportunities available to you. So this is just a snapshot of the career service. And again, I would suggest that you check out some of these details, including, as I say, development of your skills, looking for opportunities, but also mentorship as you go. It's possible that you may be interested in working in Ireland during and after your studies. So postgrad law students from outside the EU are entitled to take up part-time casual employment in Ireland during their studies. And that's done under the Student Stamp 1 visa. It's also possible following graduation for postgrad students to apply for Stamp 1G visa. And this is under Ireland's third level graduate scheme, and that allows non-EU students to remain and work in Ireland for up to 2 years after graduation. This is just a snapshot, and it really is a snapshot because our students go to such a variety of places, but these are some of the perhaps more typical destinations, again, depending on your interests. So some will go directly into legal practice as barristers or solicitors. Some will go into aviation, some will go into banking, a number will go into public sector, and I think that's really important. The idea of giving back, of contributing to that public policy making, which is a real opportunity to have impact. But again, whether it's at a national level or an international level, whether it's law focused, whether it's practitioner focused, or related areas such as for example, media, there are opportunities available to you there. In terms of admissions, just to give you some details on that, we are inviting applications from well-qualified graduates. So we're looking at graduates with a very good honours bachelor degree in law or a law-based interdisciplinary programme. That's the starting base for admissions. It, of course, doesn't guarantee, and we do encourage you to apply early. It's a competitive admission process. The deadline is the 31st of May, but there's a high volume of applications this year, and it is possible that some of the modules you may be interested in or some of the programs need to be applied for early with that in mind. In terms of English language requirements for students with English language not as their first language, you can see there some of the qualifications that would be acceptable. And again, that's something for you to have a look at. But I would emphasize that those requirements are the minimum requirements, and they're sort of a starting point for admission. The degrees are academically rigorous programs, and they really require a high level of knowledge to understand both what you're reading and then to engage in the analysis. So we really encourage applicants who meet those minimum requirements to continue to practice and to improve even before having received a positive invitation. Keep reading, keep writing before you come here, and that will just really improve your skills and make it easier for you when you arrive. So application tips, perhaps. Please ensure that you have all documentation and that it's all being submitted properly. You're required to provide note references from academic referees, and please make sure that you notify them in advance and give them an opportunity to put together a reference and send it in to them. And the best reference required is going to take often a little bit of time, so just be aware of that from their perspective. If an offer is made, and it will be stipulated in the offer, but it's got to be accepted within 21 days. If you have accepted a conditional offer, dependent on a particular result, documentation, you have to provide that documentation before the 10th of August, which is the latest date for that. But if you have it earlier, please do submit the material. Again, there's a lot of work to be done, and the earlier the material comes in, then the easier for us to get those acceptances and final acceptances out to you. The last slide sets out some student testimonials. There's some there, and there's some available online. I think the best student testimonials are absolutely fantastic. Student, and she's now embarrassed, Pauline, who's going to speak to you at the end. So I will leave that to her. And I'm very happy to turn over to my colleague, Professor Mazzonotti, who will talk to you about the MSc in Law and Finance. Thanks.
Thank you, Professor Blanett-Clark, very much for this very informative presentation. I will talk to you now about the MSc Law and Finance program. My name is Felix Mezzanotte, and I am the director of the program. I think that we need to move a number of slides prior to this to slide. Thank you very much. Very well. There it is. So, well, this is a program that is jointly organized by the Business School and the Law School. We have a director, Professor Jenny Berry from the Trinity Business School, and myself from the Law School, and we run this program together. And we have been doing this since 2019 very successfully. The program has been improving ever since, and it has been very well ranked. It's the first program in Ireland, is a leading program in Europe among these international business law programs. So we feel very comfortable with it, and we are running the program very smoothly at this stage. Thank you. A characteristic of the program is interdisciplinarity. You will take modules with the business school. These are business modules, and the lecture will belong to the business school. They will evaluate you following the criteria of the business school. The same with the law school. We have lecturers that are staff from the law school and very experienced staff, and they will evaluate you and assess and teach consistent with the rules that we have at the law school. So these are two disciplines, multidisciplinarity studies involved, and then interdisciplinarity happens as you discuss issues with your classmates, as you read your essays, as you write your essays, as you write your dissertations, and this is how interdisciplinarity happens. And interdisciplinarity is highly valuable skills, particularly for employers. The program is most suited to students that have a background in law, in finance, or in business. And business widely defined, we have applicants from it has bachelor's in accounting or in economics, other social sciences, but in general, we define these as business degrees that feel motivated, they feel attracted to issues that we teach here that has to do with corporate law, governance, sustainability, financial law and regulation, banking, investment funds, securities industries, asset management, and that they foresee working in issues related to the financial sector, whether this has to do with the main actors in those industries, or whether you are working from government, of other organizations, associations, federations, NGOs that do influence the life of those industries. So there's a variety of environments where you can work and influence life in the financial sector and the corporate sectors. And then if you're interested in doing that, this program is very much suited to you. A very brief introduction to the structure of the program. You need to complete 90 ECTS in order to complete this program. And the first third has to do with mandatory modules, the second third elective modules, and the last part is research and dissertation. Let me explain to you about this. Mandatory modules, there are 5 in total: business ethics, corporate finance, investments, and sustainability. These 3 belongs to the business school. Everyone has to register to those modules, including students with law background. And then corporate finance, company law and governance, European Union financial services law, that these are delivered by the law school. Elective modules, there is a variety of modules that you can choose to complement your mandatory modules. They are listed in this slide, like business and human rights, legal issues and sustainable finance, merger and acquisitions, many modules in law that are that belongs to international law, like international aviation law, international economic law, international trade law. On the finance side, financial econometrics, financial markets and institutions, a very popular module, international finance, and others. And if you want to have a complete description of these modules, then you need to go to the website of Trinity. In the website of Trinity Business School, they have a full description of each one of these modules, and that you can look at them, and it's an updated list of modules. Dissertation, you will need to complete a dissertation, either business dissertation or, finance dissertation or a law dissertation. And they follow different structures. So the finance dissertation is delivered by the business school. You will get a supervisor from the business school. The law dissertation, you will be supervised by an academic leader that guide the work of a number of law students working on a law dissertation. And the idea basically is that you apply all the knowledge and skills that you acquire in the different modules to address a particular questions or problem of relevance. We do have also scholarship opportunities for the MSc. You need to look at the opportunities for the LL.M program, funding opportunities for the LL.M programs, because actually MSc students do have access to the same scholarship opportunities. In addition to that, the MSc provides opportunities for 2 scholarships that consist of €5,000 contribution towards tuition fees. They're awarded on the basis of merits, so applications are evaluated against the criteria, and all the information that you need in order to apply, you will find them this information online as well. Alumni of the MSc have been able to find very different career paths: academia, in-house legal counsels or law firms for those who have a law orientation, or analysts working in the corporate world like business development, private equity, financial business analysts. So there's a great variety of career paths that has emerged after completing your MSc. And in very important firms, some of them consulting firms like KPMG, AY, Deloitte, McKinsey and Company, others law firms, Matheson, McCann Fitzgerald, others investment firms like PIMCO, for example. So, and there are many more. These are only a few that we have mentioned here in the slides. But again, the career paths can be very rich, and you will find a variety of opportunities after completing the program. And for testimonials, that basically tells you about the experience of the students that have registered for the MSc in the past. They will give you a different insight of the program. So I strongly recommend that you go to the websites and read those testimonials. You will find them there, so I'm not going to elaborate more on this. Requirements for admission. Well, this is a very competitive program. We have many applications. And so our recommendation is that you look carefully at the deadline. That is the 31st of May, and then you apply early. And the very basic admission requirements consist of undergraduate honors bachelor degree of 2-1 grade or higher in law, business, and economics. Again, business defined widely as a degree that includes finance, accounting, and other degrees. But well, this is the very basic admission requirements, and it's a very competitive program. Any questions about the program, requests, you can contact our program managers, that they will be more than happy to respond to your queries. This is Mrs. Kelly McCabe and also Sarah Gehring, and just simply send an email to them, and they will be happy to provide you with as much information as needed. So I think that this is as much as I will talk today, and there is the next speaker that will give you a testimonial about her experience with Trinity College Dublin.
Great. Hello together. It's great to be here. I'm Pauline. I'm a student in the LL.M general program here at Trinity. I did my undergraduate in Germany at Heidelberg University. And last year I attended this webinar too. And I know how challenging planning your LL.M journey can be. And this webinar helped me a lot. So I'm really happy to share the fantastic experience I made at Trinity. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask or write me an email or write me at LinkedIn. Yeah, I had 3 main reasons why I chose Trinity for my LL.M journey. First reason was its brilliant academic reputation. Second reason, its location right in the middle of a vibrant European city, Dublin. And third, the international atmosphere and the Irish mentality. So it was 3 reasons: academia, location, and people. I will now talk about in more detail. So let's start with the big part, academia. Academic excellence to me was not only talking about Trinity's brilliant rankings, but also about personal experience. So at Heidelberg University, for example, I worked as a research assistant, and some of my colleagues went to Trinity before me and highly recommended it. Moreover, one of the judges of the Federal Constitutional Court in Germany spent part of his legal career at Trinity. So I knew Trinity is where the bright minds go, and I wanted to be a part of that community. On the picture on the left, you see a building where a course took place last term. And in terms of courses, you can choose from a broad variety of fascinating and very cutting-edge courses, like AI, like sustainability, like diversity. And the lectures are engaging and full of input, and also full of discussion. So if you want, you really get the chance to speak in front of others, which improved my English a lot. The size of the courses varies, like my courses varies between 3 and 30 people. So you really get to know each other. The student body is very diverse and very international. So I made friends with people from South Africa, from India, from Australia, and all over the world. And I plan to visit them after the LL.M. The picture in the middle is there to show how 21st century Trinity is, because I always forget about appointments, about dates, and I get lost a lot. But that's not a problem, because Trinity has an app that includes a timetable and directions to your lecture room. So it's like Google Maps, it's really convenient. The picture on the right is from the law school's weekly newsletter, and I included it because it informed me about so many very important things during my legal studies here. So it informed me about law fairs at Trinity, where I met dozens of big international law firms I'm still in contact with. It informed me about speakers who come to Trinity, like judges from the International Court of Justice, like directors from the OECD, and many more. It informed me about opportunities to publish in international peer-reviewed law journals, which I am currently doing with 2 of my essays from last term, which helps my academic career a lot. And it also informed me about coffee meetings and pub evenings organized by the law school for its students. And during my application process at Trinity, I asked Kelly, who works in the administrative body, and probably some of you already know, I asked her about part-time working options, and she not only provided valuable information for me, but she also sent me a link to a Trinity scholarship I was eligible for. And I hadn't known about this scholarship and that I was eligible for, but I finally got it in the end. So now I'm a European Excellence Scholar, which was just a brilliant experience that I couldn't have had without Callie. So it's all about information, and the administration at Trinity does a fantastic job and really helps you to shape your future legal career and build up your network. So next slide, please. Now I come to my second point, location and facilities. When I chose Trinity, I was fascinated of this beautiful campus, of the cobblestones and of the ancient buildings, but I also wanted to live in a European capital city. And I think the picture in the middle illustrates brilliantly what Trinity is to me. So to me, Trinity is where tradition meets future. Like, I study at Ireland's oldest #1 university, but learn how the law shapes tomorrow. The picture on the right is one of my favorite reading spots on campus. And there's also a library exclusively for postgraduate students. It's on the bottom left. And we have a subject librarian for law. Her name is Carrie, and she really helps me a lot in finding resources and tells me how to cite them properly. So next slide, please. Here you can see places I spend a lot of time, since the facilities at Trinity are amazing. On the left, there's the Trinity Dining Hall, which looks very Harry Potterish to me, and where I'm having a lot of lunches. The yellow building in the back, in the middle, in the picture in the middle, is the Trinity Campus Pub. And we have a sports center with fitness studios, yoga lessons, climbing walls, and a swimming pool, which is great for me. Now to the last slide, please. Trinity also offers great opportunities to meet people and try out new things. So in the middle, you can see the Society's Fair, which is a picture I took from the Trinity College Dublin's Instagram account. I can highly recommend this account. So if you want to get to know a little bit more about the spirit about Trinity, visit this account. I did that, and I felt at home at Trinity even before I was there. On this Society's Fair, I could choose from about 120 clubs and societies, and I just listed a few examples from what I like to do. So I go rowing, I went sailing, I go hiking in the beautiful Irish landscape. Some of my friends go underwater diving or on kayaking tours with Trinity clubs. And of course, there are all the law-related societies we already heard about. There's the Free Legal Advice Clinic. The Law Society also holds 3 balls per year. Part of them are costume balls with Venetian masks, so it's a lot of fun there. And Trinity has also the oldest debating society in the world. You can see a picture from that on the bottom right. So there is a lot to do and a lot to explore. And most importantly, I want to mention the people here because they are incredibly welcoming, friendly, and supportive. So my LL.M experience here at Trinity so far has broadened my horizon, helped me develop personally, and exceeded any expectations I had. So thank you so much for your attention. If you have any questions, feel free to ask or just write me. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Pauline, and thank you, Professor Felix and Professor Blanc.